Should be, yeah. Let's see, Twitch. Boop, and have to mute it. Okay, there we go. Yay! So, fan is not an issue. Yay, the fan is not an issue. That's right. Took the advice of a friend and got some ring lights set up so you guys can see my bearded face with all the gray. So much gray. I blame my sisters. Because what are sisters for if not to be blamed for issues in life? That's what sisters are for. We are going to give everyone a chance to filter in, and then we'll do the usual roundup of what's been going on and what is coming up. And then we'll launch into questions and comments. So if you guys want to start queuing those up for me to get to, that will be a good thing. I have apparently missed some rewards from past events, and I have to apologize to those people. I will be getting them out after this live chat, so in the next day or two, for those people who have been missing things, because I'm a terrible individual. Life, Mom. I am blaming my sisters for life, because sisters should just be blamed for everything. That doesn't seem right. You can delete my comments? I mean, wow. Shouldn't be able to delete. So you have the delete icon next to my name. Type something in chat for me. Type something in chat. And I can delete yours. Okay. But I can't delete my own. Okay, so you just can't self-delete. Got it. Delete, timeout, put her in timeout. Tutal did what was the individual who recorded the DragonCon panel that I was on, that I posted up on social media places. So thank you for that, Tutal. So okay, we have given a few minutes for people to filter in. It says we got 20 people here, so you know, I think we could probably start. But feel free to throw your comments and questions in so I can roll into them as soon as I'm done with the update. Because that would be good, right? Yes. All right. Let's see. Where have I been? I'm trying to remember. Hang on, guys. Life has been life. Um, Lex voice 5? Yes, 5. Whew. Lex Voice 5 was the last book published. It has been doing okay. A bit of a fall off from 4 to 5. I was surprised at that. More than I expected, honestly. Um, Maybe it was just people were not expecting the story to go on after Deep Gulch. I'm not sure. Um, but the series continues. I know book 5. Some people thought didn't have enough action. Well, sometimes you need setup for action to happen, and my books are generally slow. But book 5 has been doing good. The next book, of course, coming up will be Binding Words 9. The publication date shifted from the end of October to mid-October. We'll actually, get it up maybe into early October. it's going to be a wait and see. It is going through editing processes and whatnot at the moment, which means, though, I am, of course, writing Aether's Revival 6, which is different. I mean, we all know where 5 left off. For those of you who are only audio, you do not. But it leads us into Gregory going off to train with his Magi Guard. So there's a difference there. He's not around his usual cadre of friends and family. Um, so the writing process has been, and I hate to use the word different again, but it has been. Um, Overall, I enjoy what I've written so far. Hope you guys do when you get to it. On the audio front, Dungeon Walkers 3 with Stephanie Savannah being the narrator has just gone out a couple of days ago. I did blast that around various places, the mailing list and social media. To answer everyone who has asked me, those of you here probably already know, but just in case, the people who watch this later on YouTube or something, Travis asked to step back from Dungeon Walkers, and I am never one to ask someone to do something they do not want to do. So we parted ways, and luckily Stephanie was kind enough to step into that spot. Um, we will get Binding Words 9 out before the audio comes out, but I think it's October. I believe Andy will be recording it. Will be recording Binding Words 8 in October. And like from October through like the end of the year, the majority of things she's recording are the books of mine that have been waiting. So we have a really good chance of catching up by the end of the year. And for those who have not paid attention, Dungeon Walkers is going to get a nice soft close at the end of the next book. Sales have just been bad. I need to be able to pay my artists, my editors, and so on and so forth. So, Dungeon Walkers will be getting a nice soft close. So, like Apocalypse Gates, maybe I can pick it back up again in the future when I don't have a mortgage and stuff. But for the time being, I'm gonna give it a nice wrap with the 4th book. Taking its place is going to be the science fiction series, which is going to have some mecha in it, but it's going to be fantasy science fiction. So expect to see nanotech and fantasy races kind of meshed together, because why do one thing when you could do multiple things all at once? I think that catches everyone up to date on what was and is for books coming up. I know I'm going to have questions about DragonCon, but I'll give a quick rundown. Too Tall was nice enough to record my urban fantasy panel. It's really weird because you have to get the approval of every person on the panel and the moderator for the panel. Luckily, the urban fantasy panel all agreed, so he was able to. He was set up at the far back of the room. So if you guys are wondering about the audio, 1, the audio system wasn't the best for the panel, and 2, he was well removed from where everybody was talking. So, because I know at least one person has asked me about the audio quality. Next year, if they ask me to be on panels again, I'm looking at possibly getting a camera and like small parabolic microphone, probably. But once again, it will require all the panelists and the moderator agreeing to allow that. Hopefully, they will allow that. If they do, of course, I would gladly send them copies so they could post it up to their social media, because why would you not want to promote more of what you do? People are strange, though, so who knows? Overall, it was a nice DragonCon. The Medieval Times event, first year we tried it out. Seemed to have a good run back. I want to say it was about 200-ish people, maybe just under that, maybe just over, right around that number. For attendees, me, Mountaindale Press, and Matt Dinneman all threw in to help sponsor it. It looks like maybe this coming DragonCon 23 We will have 6 full sponsors, so one per night section, and maybe we can get even more people out for the event because it is not officially part of DragonCon. You do not have to go to DragonCon to attend the event, so it is a nice middle ground for those who happen to be in the area but don't want to attend the con. Um, the panels were different. I felt out of place on the Apocalypse panel, to be honest. Um, of course, because Apocalypse Gates is very much still game lit RPG, and the other ones were not. They were like full dystopian um, apocalypse slash cyberpunk-ish books. So I didn't have a lot of answers to what I would consider like the questions you would expect in an apocalypse panel. Um, Sadly, Tracy Hickman didn't make it to the one panel I was going to be on with him. I was really hoping to meet him. Um, Nice part, Patricia Briggs did compliment me at the end of the panel I was on with her. She found out that it was my first time doing panels at a convention, and she thought I did good. So hey, that's a plus. I should take credit from somebody who sold millions of copies of books, right? Or at least hundreds of thousands of copies of books. Um, Overall, though, I enjoyed the panels. Question mark. I mean, this I at least get to look at myself and look at your questions, and I have time to answer things. Panels are vastly different. I have to look at people in sitting in front of me and then answer questions that are given to me directly. Um, so I tried to answer things not first for a reason. And yes, I'm Italian. I'm sorry. My hand speaks for me. Um, got to see a good number of fans who turned out. I want to say I say good number. It was like 10 to 20 people who specifically sought me out. Um, I did post up pictures of the cosplay that was done by a couple of fans. They did Doc and Fiala together, and then she turned around and did Mina as well. So thank you, thank you to them for that. That was very flattering to have them show up in cosplay. I think that covers most DragCon. We did not catch COVID. We bypassed Concrud as well. I was going to say Cronkite for some reason, and I can't blame a reporter. So we missed the sicknesses that could have happened. Thankfully, some of the people we were with did fall ill afterwards, but we did not. We tested multiple times. We didn't have any of the standard symptoms, so we lucked out. Of course, some precautions do help with that. I will preface this next part. If you were thinking about coming to the next DragonCon, I am going to look at getting a booth. I will not be there very often. I will have things to give away and business cards and whatnot to direct people to where to find books, and I will discuss books with them. But I'm not going to be selling books on site because that is a major pain in the ass. So I will be doing giveaways because then I don't have to worry about collecting monies and sales taxes and all the rest of the fun that happens when you decide to sell things at a convention. But spaces are limited, and you can't even apply for them until February. So I am looking into doing so, just so I have a place where I can set specific times to like meet people, because I think that would be interesting for those people who are specifically looking for me outside of things that I'm going to be doing like the medieval times. So now we will get into your questions because I have killed a good amount of time. There are 30 of you here, and we are 15 minutes in, and I haven't answered a single question yet. Yay! Okay, let's scroll down because I scrolled all the way back up to the top. You're a terrible person. You leave us with cliffhangers. Aw, Raph. They're good for you. Builds character. Okay, did that. Yeah, I'll have a oh, Sammy answering questions. I know it's not a question, but man, I finished listening to AG4 That's such a great book. It gets better every time I listen to it. Thank you so much for it. I'm when you say AGO, do you mean Apocalypse Gates 4? Or are you talking Aether's Revival 4? Xerox. Because a lot of people can put AG when they mean AR. It's because I have a lot of A's. So it's almost like that happens a lot. Uh, oh, was it? Oh, was AG? Okay. That's uh that's the Elven book. So I sure I tuned in what yeah, sorry sorry about that, Rob. I did put Pacific on there, but yeah, the conversion rate from East to Pacific, we subtract time to get to East Coast time. You have to add time, so it's like 6 at night for you. And you were like, "I'm here." Whoops. Yes, I pay my editors with money. My editors would not work to clean up my words without being paid, Rob. No, sup. They don't stream all the panels. They do set panels. So it and they list ahead of time which panels they're going to be doing. But no, it's not all the panels all the time because there are dozens of rooms in like there's at least like a dozen rooms in 4 different hotels that are doing things all 10 a.m. to like midnight. So no, they're not streaming all of that all the time. I hope they allow it physically. I can't get to cons, so panel recordings help. Fair enough. Lost. Um, we have hope. Oh, I mean, too tall. You got what you got, man. I mean, if you're doing it for yourself, totally cool. But don't go out of the way thinking you got to do it specifically for recording panels, unless that's something you just want to do for you. Is the sci-fi going to be sci-fi with races from fantasy but without having magic, or is it going to be Magitech or Star Magi series where magic is fused with technology? You're gonna have to wait and see. Knight. It's probably Mick Knight. You have to wait and see. There will be standard fantasy races involved. Uh, gonna grab some food so I can't interact for a while. Okay. That was it wasn't one of the writer it was a writer panel too tall, so they might not have let you record anyway. So don't don't feel terrible about missing it on that end. Um, it was a large panel. That the one with Patricia Briggs. There were one, two, three, four. There were 6 of us plus the moderator. So there were a total of 7 people crowded around the little table. Um, because they added in 3 people, like right at the start, because the moderator was working with one of the people who was working with one of the people, and apparently when Hickman advised the track person that he couldn't make it, they added it. They tapped somebody else to fill that spot. So we ended up with 7 people at the table. It was very crowded up there. Rob, I posted the links to the YouTube on Facebook and Discord and stuff. Um, Dragon Con isn't is didn't record any of my panels. After the panels, how much whiskey was consumed? I didn't drink much whiskey. I had some smoky old fashions, which if you're on Discord, I did post a video of the smoky old fashioned being made. I had one of those every night. They are delicious. They are my favorite smoky old fashioned I've ever had. Actually, they're my favorite old fashioned I've ever had, smoked or not. So, and that's like the most I drink. I have like a drink or two every night at Dragon Con, whereas most days I don't drink. It's a social thing. I found out that I am a social drinker. If I'm with other people who are having a drink, I will have one. But I also don't want to get drunk, so the most I limit myself is two. Most I limit myself to is two. Yeah, there we go. English is great. What does a panel do? Just answer random questions, or is it previously scripted? The moderator normally has questions they've come up with to ask down, and most times they also take questions from the audience once they've run through their set questions. Um, I didn't have any of those ahead of time, so they were all surprise questions to me. You're going to get a booth. Isn't that like super expensive? It's not cheap, Xerox. It depends on what you consider super expensive. It is at that point a business expense. So there is that. You don't go to. I don't think you should be going to a con looking to make money if you're not selling things, and you'd have to be like the chess X dice to even consider making a profit. It's mostly going to just get your name out more than anything and try to get people interested in what you have, hoping that they turn around and buy more from you in the future. I think it's that way for even for most of the writer stuff, because like Bane normally has a table, but I would find it hard to believe that they're making a significant percentage of anything there. It's more oh hey, the Bane table's here, and oh hey look, Ringo is going to be here on Saturday from X to Y. I could totally buy one of his books and get it signed. It's promotional more than anything. I am not so patiently waiting for Andy to record more of your books. I'm looking forward to Lux Voice 5 and the next Binding Words in AR. Well, from what I understand, my talks with her, she is going to see family um, as her vacation this year. That's why she didn't make it to Dragon Con. And then after that, from like October through the end of the year, I think there's only one other book on her slate outside of mine for her to crush through. So she should catch up to everything. If if I can get Binding Words and AR done before the end of the year, nine. Well, of course, I'll have nine done. If I can get AR6 done before the end of the year, like around the beginning of December, she might also be able to like put that in and catch up on everything that I've published going into January. Because January she's doing the Wandering End, so January will be shot for her trying to record a book because it will be eaten up by the Wandering End. So that's why she's kind of hoping to get caught up on everything else before then, so she can be on schedule. Uh, hey DJ, hope you're doing well. It's nice to see you outside of your cave. Well, thank you, Jazz. Uncomfortable, not as uncomfortable as a panel. So I do have a new baseline for most uncomfortable I have while talking to people. It's good to know. See, slowly pushing my boundaries. If next year I do get a table in the vendor hall, I will have an even bigger boundary on what is most uncomfortable for me. So, yay. Slowly, we take steps. Except for spiders. Fuck spiders. Kill them with fire. I asked this a little ago on Facebook, but I came here because I'm impatient. Was Marvella from Dungeon Walker 3 a nod to the Fight Town boxing coach, which was written by Hondo Jinx? Hondo wrote Fight Town because he wanted to write a boxing story, and he really liked how I had written Aether's Revival. And he specifically says that, I think, in the afterword or whatever, that it was a nod towards Aether Revival. So yes, Marvella, who was a wolf lycan in Dungeon Walkers 3, was my nod back to him. Sadly, Hondo seems to have put down that pen name and doesn't look like he's going to do anything else with it, which is sad because I was really hoping for more Fight Town from him. Will Doc ever make automatic weapons in his world? He seems only to buy guns thus far. I don't see how he would have the knowledge for that, Xerox. He wasn't a gunsmith. Doc isn't a maker. Sean's a maker, but Doc's not a maker. He has a little general knowledge of how to fiddle around with things. He has the knowledge of what year it was when he died, but that doesn't mean you would know how to make an automatic firearm. Does he have enough knowledge that he might be able to be like, hey, dwarves, you should try to see if you could figure this out? Maybe, but Doc isn't a fighter, guys. Doc's never been a fighter. The few times he's ended up in death-defying situations, he falls apart afterwards, if not for copious amounts of drugs and or druid essence, dryad essence. Yeah, dryad. There we go. Not druid essence, dryad. Um, so he's not thinking of how do I make better weapons right now because he's hoping to not have to get into a war with people. He is going out of his way to do things differently. Will it become a war? Will death and destruction follow? I mean, it's got a chance, but he is hoping not to go down that road unless he has to. I think Lux Voice Fi dropped off because Posey was left behind. I mean, maybe Posey was the draw. Please write a book with a dark main character, Xerox. So I can answer that very easily. Um, Alvin is probably about as dark as I got with my main characters. Probably about as dark as I'll get with a main character. Because for everyone who wants a true villain story, there are about 6 others who will not pick up the book. Just for my fan base. Not in general, just in my fan base. Some people really want a villain story. Most people don't. So I mean, it wouldn't sell very well for me, which means I wouldn't be able to write it past like a single book. Do I have dark stories? Yeah, I have a couple of them in my head. Probably will not publish them, write them or publish them because it would be very hard to sell. Have you guys considered a scrolling text overlay across the bottom of the stream to answer FAQs? Um, she says she'll look into it. Okay. DJ said there would be hot cat girls in the new book. Well, Jazz, no, no. Um, I I think a cat girl might show up in book 2, but they would be like a cameo. I specifically do not have a cat female in the first sci-fi book. And if you guys are wondering, yeah, it's mostly written. I have been using the little free time I have to get the book down because I knew that I wanted to, and it's been most of a year. So the little bit of free time I normally have for playing video games and reading, I gave up because I wanted to write a book. Almost like I did that once, ended up as a full time writer. We all know that Posey is where she turns and starts to grow to build up her evil empire. I mean, that's just the way it is, Xerox. How long before people start racing their vehicles by new words? Probably a decade or two. I mean, at the moment, only the wealthy have them, and Sean put governors on them. They don't go that fast. Uh, my daughter saw you on the phone. She said, "Hi, I recognize him." Um, I'm hoping from other like live chats. What was your favorite newspaper comic that you used to or still love to partake in? I think that one was posted on Facebook Outlaw. The one I always looked forward to reading when I picked up the Sunday comics was Peanuts. I still love Snoopy and the gang. No, Garfield was second to Peanuts, and definitely not Garfield. Garfield's methed out cousin. I'm not holding him. I don't want the curse on me. Uh, it's gonna take a couple of seconds. I don't want to touch him. He's cursed. Garfield's methed up cousin is cursed, and I don't want him. So so that is a stuffed animal that's on Amazon, and the reviews for it are hilarious. Hilarious enough that the girlfriends bought one. We call it Garfield. It's Garfield's methed out cousin. God, that thing's just wrong. So wrong. Hey, Holly made it. Doing a panel was more uncomfortable meeting fans in person. Well, I've met people in person before Xerox. I don't understand it because I still don't get why people would want to meet me. But public speaking is something that I don't get along with. So yeah, sitting up at the basically the front of a room, sometimes on a stage to answer questions. Mm, yeah. How are your parental units and the rest of the fam? Good, Rob. There's no news is good news. I saw my parents yesterday. They're both fine. Um, no complaints. Dad is still trying to drum up enough money to get more songs recorded. He has a very expensive hobby. I wanted to say thank you for your comment on my reply to why Sean doesn't add healing to the spas. No problem, Archeron. I mean, I you guys spitball a lot of different what ifs. Um, and that's the thing. I am one person, getting the story from the characters in my head to share with all of you, and there are hundreds of you out there who are like, but he could do this and he could do that, and I'm just like, I understand, but he's going that way instead because Sean. Um, so he'll never get to a hundredth of the things you guys have suggested. Some of them for the reasons like I commented on. Just it's not possible. I mean, you could literally dump just flat healing into someone, but it wouldn't work quite correctly. Eventually, their body would adapt and heal, but it wouldn't work out the like most people would want it to. It's directed. Did you het the idea of Polly from AG2? It's probably supposed to be get. Um, no, the idea of tentacle cats has been in numerous places for decades. Um, it's just some of those things that have waited. I knew I was going to give him a cat companion, and I was like, okay, what kind of ability do I want to go with? And I wanted to give the cat something more than just its regular claws and teeth. And tentacles with claws is useful because they have other purposes besides straight attacking. I mean, more climbability and things. So more climbability. Tentacle. Well, that tentacle kitty can fly just like Polly can now. Someone in this Facebook group said that Honda will apparently publish Fight Town 3 online or something like that. Not sure how reliable that info is. Until it happens, I'm gonna say not very. That's That's my opinion on it. Until it happens, I'm gonna say not very. Uh, but you just said that Doc recovers with the help of druid asses. I mean, with the right druids, I mean, you know, I can't do darker villain MCs. My head is already dark. When you start writing a series, how far do you plan it? Do you plan to the first 2 or 3 arcs, or do you have the whole thing at least outlined? No, I'm what's known as a pantser or discovery writer sup. I have this is my start point. This is where I want the series to end if I can get it there. And here are some nice little things in the middle that I would like to see happen if my characters behave themselves. And that's about as much framework as I can. Otherwise, it's the characters telling me what's going on in their lives, and I just basically make a journal for the rest of you guys to read. Without spoilers, what does the next Binding Words have in store for us? Like, what would be the blurb on the book jacket? Well, Pez, Sean struggles, things happen, stuff rolls downhill, and at the end of it, Sean realizes he's gonna have to do more. I mean, I think that's a concise, nice, concise idea of how the book is gonna go, and not a single spoiler. That takes some work, let me tell you. The last camcorder I got was a pawn store purchase. I'll hunt down a decent one with an external mic as well. I mean, too dull. Like I said, if you're gonna put it to use for things, go for it, man. Full support. Um, because I know you record a lot of things. You normally like show up at like Alaron stuff during Dragon Con as well and record things. So I mean, you're gonna get use out of it. You have your own YouTube channel, which has I think some videos on trucking outside of panels. So I mean, it does make sense with Too Tall Trucker being your name. Okay, I'm just gonna stop talking now. Uh, I, for one, am seriously looking forward to the sci-fi book. Well, thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. So what you're saying is that we ain't the only ones to get impatient for your books. No, no, you're definitely not. You burn your free time to do a mecha story just for us. Thank you. Well, I mean, not just for you guys, because I wanted to write it. Honestly, sometimes it's really hard not to listen to the stories in my head that jump up and down and wave their arms. I knew that the next series I was going to write was going to be the sci-fi series. So I was like, okay, well, I kind of want to write it. And the voices got a little louder, and I went, okay, I can start on it, I guess. So, getting a chapter in here or there is what's been going on with it. I have to complete my regular work before I even have the thought of writing that. That's how I progress. The cursed Garfield idol. Ah, there it was. Everyone saw methed out Garfield. Does methed out Garfield qualify as a catax? No, I think it qualifies as a catastrophe, though. Oh wow, I really am not that far behind the chat. I'm gonna catch up to you all. I mean, we're not even an hour in yet, and I'm catching up to you guys. I probably will do a recap shortly. I was gonna do it at the hour, but I might have to do it before then because I am catching up to all of you. Oh, it doesn't have to be PG-13. We can edge a little past the 13. I mean, if I got 2 fucks on stream, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be PG-13. That's all I'm saying. After looking at the Garfield on Amazon, have you made sure that thing's surrounded by a salt ring with an old priest and a young priest on speed dial? That's what I'm saying. The thing is fucking cursed, man. She wants us all to experience the curse. I apologize for my editor. We're all cursed. Garfield watches. You guys have noticed that I've added a decoration to my door behind me. It was the name plaque from my very first panel in my badge from this year's Dragon Con as well. I feel like I'm being watched by some kind of drugged out cat that's plotting my death, but's like too lazy and hungry for lasagna to really work up to it. Will any of your characters get the power of flight? I mean, that's a broad question, Xerox. I mean, maybe. Sean already flies, honestly. I mean, he can summon wings. I want to meet you and sit down for dinner and drinks, alcohol or non by preference. You seem like a person who would have fun just to have a conversation with. Well, Argon, if I ever go back out into the wilds outside of Dragon Con, um, I will let people know because I used to I did a road trip to Texas to see friends before. I might do that again. Otherwise, it would be Dragon Con. Something I have noticed from other books where the MC is chasing a strong lady or ladies. Once the MC gets them, they seem to mellow out to the point that they are background. I'm thankful you don't fall into that pit trap. Well, that's normally because those series are I got them and then they fade away series, unlike a ongoing relationship where you should continue to care about people. Just yeah. Me and the E Harem crowd have a difference of opinion on how things are supposed to be written. Uh, I mean, if you uploaded it to a Google Drive sup, I'm sure other people would go to view it. Uh, Panther by the seat of the Pants Rider. Yeah. Or Discovery Writer is the other way of saying it. We discover the story as we write it. How often do you stop and look at your characters going, why did you do that? It's only really happened once. When in the first round of AG, in the first round of Apocalypse Gates, when Alvin wanted to be a paladin by the end of it, yeah, wrote an entire book, read through it, scrapped it, started again. Fucking paladins, knock it off, be an asshole. You're supposed to be an asshole, goddammit. Most of the time, it's just little things like Sean deciding to go ahead and offer life bonds to all the staff during five, book 5 or 6, and then later going, "Oh yeah, there's a reason I'm not supposed to do that." Fuck. Thanks, Sean. He can't give away too much about Binding Wars 9. He still has 21 more books right in the series. No, Xerox, it's not going to stretch another 21. Um, Honestly, I would say 12 at the most for Binding Words. I've written 9, 10, 10, 11, like I said, possibly 12. I'm thinking it might wrap at 11, but it might go to 12. So yeah, it's not going to reach a 30 book series. Aethers might, depending. This is one of the things I am working through with Aether 6 actually right now is the advancement of time. It's easy when a routine gets reached, but until a routine is established, I continue to write the way that I have. I show you what's going on day to day until okay, a routine has been established, I can be like, it's 3 weeks later, and then this thing happens that you guys should probably know about. Or, hey, it's been 2 months, and Gregory's going to go back to the city to see his wives because it's that time when they're supposed to check back in with the commander, kind of thing. Which will probably be necessary as Aethers continues. But it's not something I've done a lot with, and they've normally been small, a week, 2 weeks. So taking bigger chunks of time out like that is something I am learning how to do. So who would you say is your most disliked character besides Skippy? Well, besides Skippy, I would say probably Skippy. And if not Skippy, then Skippy. And if I have to think about it, I would say probably then Skippy. I mean, because you have to remember, I have Skippy in a lot of series. So, I mean, depends on if I'm not thinking about Alpha World Skippy, then it's probably Binding Word Skippy or possibly AR Skippy or. Actually, I think at this point, for those who've read Lux Voice 5, I have to say the Soul Smith and Ferdin is probably quickly climbing the charts of a most despised character. Blurb. Sean goes, people are assholes. He does stuff, assholes are more assholey. Sean does more things. I mean, also a valid interpretation of a blurb, Jazz. Do the voices in your head ever disturb the girlfriends at night? No, apparently I'm the one who maniacally laughs at night. Yeah, I have. I don't believe I've ever woken the girlfriends up with like random things being said that disturb them. However, there was the first year Sammy was here, dead asleep in the middle of the night. I roll over, like just that. Okay, not really awake, but I got to roll over, get more comfortable again. To hear full, like evil villain laugh coming from Sammy across the room. The far side of the double queen bed. Just full laughter. From dead silent to just full blown laugh for like 10 seconds. And then silence. That woke me up. I was like, you okay? Sammy? She's asleep. Okay. Totally gotta be able to fall back asleep now. It'll be fine. And then I fell back asleep because why not? So no, I have not done that, but other people have woken me up in the middle of the night. How is he able to catch up to us? He's getting better at this. No, it's all a matter of just how much you guys ask, Xerox. Nothing wrong with a bit of maniacal laughter, unless it's at 2 o'clock in the morning from a dead sleep. Then it's a little disturbing, Jazz. I'm fine with maniacal laughter most of the time. Oh, Holly saw your booty shorts. I don't think anyone minded you was on camera. I didn't mind. I minded methed out Garfield on camera. That thing is staring into my soul. It's unnerving, right? But it's like not able to do much because it's methed out. So it's just like I would kill you, but I can't. Oh, hello, Rug. Rug. A very brief appearance, and then he went away. That damn plushie is the kind of thing that would scare the hell out of a person unaware at night. Like getting up to go to the bathroom and just seeing that thing in the dark staring at you. I mean, true, but what I would do is I'd put just that very dim light on it. So when you do walk into the dark place, there's just enough light to really illuminate it so you can see it. And it's not just, oh, one of the cats is sitting on the counter. and you don't think about it because it's vaguely cat shaped. Hi, buddy. You want to show off? Oh, uh, you aren't on camera though. You was just off. Yeah, come on, up, up. There you go. Puppy scritches. We stop the chat for a minute. We scritch. We scritch. And you were still off camera. How do you manage? Yeah. Okay. I has work. I has work. I has work. You mu- you must appease the cursed Garfield with lasagna. I wouldn't feed that thing lasagna. It might want to stay. A cat that is planning your death but is too lazy for it is all cats. Yeah, except this one's more methed out than anything. Probably. No, ogre and booty shorts would be a horrifying picture that nobody should ever see, Jazz. Yeah, Xerox. If I make a long distance trip again, I will let people know. I use like Twitter and Discord, and, say, hey, I'm going to be in this area for those people who can meet up. I will be a little more proactive about it. I didn't like do that until like, oh, by the way, I'm just outside of Houston for those people who want to meet. I wasn't as proactive with it. Next time I will be more proactive. I looked away and the Garfield was gone. And it's because he went to stalk someone else. After he claims their soul, he'll come for you. Don't worry. Um, you blinked and it's behind you like a weeping angel. Yeah, yeah, I can see Garfield doing that. Mm, I don't know if you could download them, Xerox, but you can watch them on YouTube. I if you look on Discord and on Facebook, I posted Too Tall's link. I didn't take them and put them on my YouTube page. They're his videos, so I just linked to them so he can have the views. No problem, Sup. Thanks for stopping by. 12 more or 12 total? 12 total. I can see Binding Words being a total of 12 books, not 12 more books. Aethers has a chance of going quite a long time, Holly. I mean, book 6 is just into their third year. I'm gonna try to fit all of the third year into book 6, and I'm gonna do then the same. I'm gonna try to fit all of the fourth year into one book because there's gonna be less character moments because he's gonna be with his guards more than anything. At least book 6, he goes to the city every couple of months, and we'll get the chance to see Mindy and Yuki and Jen. Um, but but 7, if I could manage that, then 7 would be the Adept book, and I'd probably do the Adept book that 1 year as a solid book as well. And then we go off to Kroga, and we'll we'll find out how long their Megas posting takes. Binding Words 5 is the one that had the ending that most people hated, Jazz, yes. And it was going to be worse until my alpha readers and editors made me change it. It's much nicer now. No, I don't want to. A story should have a definitive ending lost. I don't want to retell the same story just oh my god, Garfield came back, guys. It's horrible. I'm sorry, I was distracted by the evil meth glare at the back of my head. Um, every story should have a definitive ending. You shouldn't just keep writing a series because you can. It should have a definitive ending. When might we see Alpha World in paperback? Um, I don't know. I'd have to look into it, Angry. I mean, I have to pay a formatter to put it into like physical copy form for me, and pay for someone to do a full wrap cover with the blurb on the back. So probably going to be a little bit, honestly. I hadn't gotten around to it just because they're not current. Um, I don't know if. Uh, okay. I hope this doesn't screw anything up. One second. I'm going to look at something. I'm pulling up a different web page and then hoping I don't click, close afterwards. Okay, yeah. So I think I'm waiting for a cover for Dungeon Walkers 3 for the paperback. But Alpha World is a whole different thing. I'll talk to my people and see about getting them done. Um, but it's not going to be real quick. No, I did them, didn't I? Have I not done Alpha World in paperback? Now I gotta go look. I know I did. I think it was Apocalypse Gates. What? I don't, might not have any in there. I can check easier just by doing this. It's one web page with a search bar. Yeah, it's in paperbacks. Paperback. Hardback is a problem. I don't care for KDP's hardback because it's like the D&D Monster Manual type hardbacks. They're not like book jacketed hardbacks. But they're in physical copies. You can buy them. Dungeon Walkers 3 still needs to get done. I think I'm waiting for the wrap cover for that one. I'll have to look though. I'll have to talk to my peoples. My peoples. I'd love to see medieval times video. I went to one in Palmyra a couple decades ago. Um, I'm sure someone will put it up. It's a long show. I mean, it's a dinner show, so it would probably have to be done in chunks. The spotlight reminder thing on Kindle you had for Nick was great. Oh, the X-ray feature. Thank you. Um, I have to type those in, so I was probably very snarky when I typed the last one in. Because I have to do them. I have to make them fresh every time I publish a book. So I'm finally getting around to where I'm like making them in a Word document, so I can just copy and paste them. Because I should have been doing that all along, and I didn't because I'm smart. So, have you ever written something so disturbing that your editors have to pull it out of your books? There was one scene that my editor said you really should change this, and I did. And no, I'm not going into details. Her maniacal laughter was her preparation for being your editor. I mean, very. She was already working for me. It could just be that the stress finally caught up to her at that time of night. Jay says if you were to be murdered, you would have already been murdered. I mean, we haven't had Garfield for long. I mean, the girlfriend's murdering me. Yeah, I do enough to keep on the good graces of the non-murder side of things. Garfield, though, I mean, you can't really reason with a methed out lasagna loving cat. I mean, I don't know if she had leapt out of bed, slept, walked to the dresser, woke me up, and demanded that I help her wallpaper the castle. I think that would have been a little better for my peace of mind that evening than the maniacal laughter, honestly. Hey Tanner, welcome in. Combining words, when Preet said Summer's bronzed buttocks, what was that for, Talis? It would be funny if they had some sort of sensation on that particular part of the body. No, because the other one is, Winter's tits. And, nah. It just, basically just a curse, like, God damn it for them. Except, they have winter and summer, so it's a little more personalized. Like Krog's balls from AR. Why does the animal have a blue tail? So people don't steal them. Okay, it was answered. You have said you put some of your friends in your books and sometimes kill them off in interesting ways. Did you put the guys from your Tuesday night Battletech game into your books? They were in AG. I had one of them eaten by a dragon. He's crazy enough to get out of a truck and challenge it to a duel with a gun. How many cats do you have? We has 4. And then we have a rug and a mighty little dragon dinosaur. Dragon dinosaur. Dragon dinosaur. He's a lizard. He can also be a dragon. You need to get another camera just for the animals. Yeah. Do you ever wake up at night with a huge writing idea for your books that you just have to get down? If so, what's one of the biggest ideas you've ever had? Actually, Night, no. Um, like I've said, I basically tell the story that the characters are telling me, so I don't have the I got to remember to write this down. It's just a matter of I sit at my keyboard and then listen to what they dictate to me. I have had, oh man, I would really like to write a sci-fi series with, mecha, but also fantasy races that has nanotech. So I don't have to try to be like completely realistic with how technology should work in a science fiction setting because I can't do that. My one girlfriend would kill me for butchering actual science. So my girlfriend nodded along when I said that, by the way. Does each of your girls have their own office now that you have moved away from to prevent attacks from pool noodles? No, we're all still in the same room. Just her desk is across the room now, not directly behind me. It's just further away than a pool noodle can reach. And you have to stretch all the way out because that's what it took last time. Uh, you said Garfield's bad cousin. I thought you were talking about Heathcliff. No, his methed out cousin, not his bad cousin. Garfield is basically Heathcliff that took a really bad turn in life. Uh, I need to get a. Was there any panels that you were not a part of that you would have liked to have been? I mean, not that I can think of. I'm not really a panels person. I mean, I don't talk to the track runners. I don't try to schmooze with people. I mean, I was shocked when they said, "Oh, by the way, here's some panels for you to do." So now, before I go on with more questions, we've been here an hour. There are 36 people here now. I'm going to recap everything from the start, the important book stuff. Lux Voice 5 has been out nearly a month. It's done okay. A bit more drop off than I expected from book 4 to 5. Part of that could be, as some people have suggested, that it's just that Posey isn't around anymore. It could be that people didn't care for the slower nature of 5. I don't know. Um, Still doing good. Gonna keep pushing on with the series. The next book up is going to be Binding Words 9. Should be middle October, maybe sooner, depending on how things go through the editing process. Um, since that is with the editors, it does mean that I am writing Aether's Revival 6, which has Gregory learning with his Magi guards, training with them, and learning how to, to be their leader. Um, for audio, Dungeon Walkers 3 just came out, narrated by Stephanie Savannah, because Travis Baldree asked to step away from the series. Andy thinks she can get my backlog of books recorded by the end of the year. We're going to find out after she has her vacation to see her mom. Um, and the next book she records will be Binding Words 8. I will probably get 9 published as an ebook before she records 8 in audio. But we will find out. Um, yeah, I really hope she can catch up to everything by the end of the year because, of course, January she is going to be booked solid for all of January for the next Wandering In. What else? Dungeon Walkers 4 will be the soft ending of the Dungeon Walkers series. Um, sales have just dropped off and dropped off and dropped off, and the last book barely made enough to pay out bills, which means the next book would be a loss. So I'm gonna soft end Dungeon Walkers, and in its place I'll be starting up my Sci-Fi series, and that catches you up on everything. Now where was I? Have you seen the Rings of Power series? No, Baron, I have not watched the Lord of the Rings adaptation from Amazon, I think it was. I haven't seen any of it. How do we get the pages from when it was worse? You don't, Xerox. Very few people have the copies of Alvin being a paladin. Or if you mean the thing, the bit about the one section of book that was pulled by my editors, you really won't because those aren't recorded anywhere anymore. 6 years of Kroga, 13 books for the entirety of the Magus postings. I mean, it's possible, but I'm gonna say probably not because routine happens in life, and if routine happens, I can skip time for things. Because I mean, Aethers is already going to be a massive series with everything that's going on. Has the pumpkin spice epidemic hit your house yet? One of the girlfriends enjoys pumpkin spice. One of them does not. So we don't really get an epidemic of pumpkin spice in the house. Looking at the thing, all I can hearing is Beckham going, "It's looking at me, Ray." Uh, you got Garfield. It's truly amazing how you can keep all the characters and their circumstances straight in your head. You ever have trouble with that? Um, the correct spellings of names can give me problems, Rob. It's why I have spreadsheets, and even then, sometimes I fail. But who the characters are, what their motivations are, how they react in situations, no, because I'm literally just dictating what they tell me down onto the page. So I've never had that problem. No, I have spreadsheets, Xerox. I have spreadsheets for a reason. For the details. Hair color, eye color, preferred weapons, how to spell their name correctly. But I know who they are. I know Clover. I know Ling. I don't have to think of that. But I do want to remember. Okay, Clover has a tail, but Ling does not. So did I say AG9? Finding words 9. That's what I meant. I am 10 minutes back in chat, so that's not terrible. It was a 2-hour dinner and show. Thank you, Holly. I'll post the Medieval Times video later if you ask nice. I'm sure somebody will. No, the dinner show's the dinner show. We had, I think it was like a half an hour meet and greet beforehand, and I talked to people after some of the panels, and if anybody had contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm looking for you where you at because I'd really like to meet you," I have, as I told people, I have social media. You could have messaged me via Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and it would have been an easy thing to set up if you were at the con at the time. Was it an hour prior? Okay, so there was a meet and greet for an hour prior. I couldn't remember the exact time. The sad part is that I picture you living in a castle instead of a mansion. Um, I mean, I would prefer to live in a castle instead of a mansion, Xerox. Castles are defensible. Most mansions aren't. You was a little late, Shank, but it's okay. You were probably over listening to Andy, and I don't blame you. Why did you choose to specialize in harem stories, especially since it's not the most profitable subgenre? Right, what you know, Ro? I've been in relationships with multiple partners for decades now. More more than singular decade. So it's just what I write. I'm tired of everything having to be standard romance. This is the main character. This is the one woman he's interested in. Or these are the couple of women he's interested in, but he's only going to pick this one and break the hearts of the other three because we couldn't possibly love more than one person in our life. Um, Basically, why I write what I write. I have 2 girlfriends. I've had multiple partners before the 2 here. It's just better that way, in my opinion. Shared love is multiplied, shared sorrow divided. First time chat viewer. Sorry if this has already been covered. How was it on the panels? Well, it has been like an hour since I answered the question, Zon. Zon, not to be confused with the Zon. Zonker MD. Um, Overall, it was okay. Different. Definitely stretched me outside of my normal comfort zone. Seeing people watching me while I'm on a stage or behind a table, sometimes both, answering questions. Um, not really where I'm comfortable with. So it did set a new standard of discomfort for me outside of because this really had been the most uncomfortable thing I do in a year. So I knew I have a new standard. This will still wipe me out though because socializing wipes me out. Um, but overall, they were good. The Apocalypse panel was the only one I felt like I really didn't belong on. The other ones, at least, I could talk to. I mean, the urban fantasy panel, I talked. Um, Actually, I think I mostly talked about finding words at the urban fantasy panel. Yeah, that was that panel. Um, because at least there's a city element, and it was obviously fantasy. So but it was the apocalypse panel because they were asking more like cyberpunk-ish or dystopian future type apocalypse questions, and the closest I get is Apocalypse Gates, and that's more okay. This is a death game. then yes, this is how you cope with the real world, trying to go through a dystopian future kind of thing. Overall, I enjoyed it. People said I did okay. Um, Knowledgeable people who've been on many panels have said that I did good for my first time ever being on panels. So I think it'll be okay if they ask me to do it again. Hopefully they don't put me on the apocalypse panel again though. I love how a quarter of the stream so far has been about the books, a quarter about the panels, another quarter random stuff, and another quarter about the cursed idol. We do not speak of the Garfield, lest we summon him again. He's sitting behind me now. That's terrifying in its own new way. Now, at least he's not watching the rest of you. I have saved you from the horror of the Garfield. How would she kill you for butchering the series? Shank. She has many ways. My girlfriends are multi-talented. It's not a matter of how, it's just a question of which. So, I am not going to ask her. That might give her more ideas. And she doesn't need more ideas. Uh, hey, Beb. Recap time. Okay. I caught up to the recap time, which means I am 10 minutes behind everyone. I don't know. All the DJ stories are amazing. That's why he's cool enough to live in a castle. I mean, wouldn't say no to a castle, but I would want it built the way I would want it. I would want modern amenities, amenities. This is why I have editors, by the way. In whatever home I decide to live in. Um, the anemone of my anemone is a sea creature. Who are some of the authors you would like to meet or meet up with again? Um, I normally see a selection of them during Dragon Con Outlaw. I mean, I almost always see Dakota. Dakota's a great guy. I run into James Hunter last few Dragon Cons. I see Ramon. Really get along with Ramon. Charles Dean wasn't there this year. My bearded brother of writing. Let's see. I mean, there's so many who show up. I know I'm forgetting a couple dozen. Chatfield, who I still need to buy a beer for if he sees this video later. Chatfield, don't worry. Next Dragon Con, I will get you a beer, sir. And for all of you who are wondering, it's an ongoing joke between me and Chatfield. The streak continues. I have that issue with sci-fi too. I have dozens of tabs for astrophysics, metallurgy, robotics, thermodynamics, theoretical physics for my sci-fi series to be as accurate as possible. But it's just too much right now. So I'm going science fantasy instead. I mean, Knight. There's nothing wrong with using a little hand wavium as long as the story is solid. Um, at least that's the way I think about it. I was always more of an Asimov than a Clark myself. Asimov would be the character who would tell you, there just was an atomic ashtray on the table. Clark would then go into a descriptive about the atomic ashtray and exactly how it worked. So, did I miss the announcement of the winner of the Authorversary contest? Has the winner been made in? Um, every every person who won has had their stuff art run, except for one individual who I apparently owed a couple of signed books to that I apparently failed to send out since May, which will be getting sent out later this week because yeah, I'm still very sorry about that. I had thought I had sent them out, and I went back and looked, and I had not. I'm a terrible individual. So that individual will be getting the books that I owe them, and then probably one or two other things to make up for the fact that I have left them sitting for like 4 months waiting for the books that they were supposed to have gotten. Ooh, that does remind me though. October 3rd. October 3rd? Hang on. Yep, October 3rd. I will have been a published writer for 6 years on October the 3rd. I had finished writing Last Horizons Beta a year before that, and it sat there being slowly edited for like a year until I was finally like, fuck it, we're just going to publish it and see what happens. Um, but yeah, this year will be 6 years as a published author. So in the next week or two, you guys will see the contests go up on Facebook and Discord and whatnot to celebrate the fact that there is I'm continuing to be a published author. So pay attention over the next couple of weeks if you would like the chance to win a cameo appearance or some of the challenge coins. I am probably not going to be doing signed books and sending them out anymore because man, that gets expensive, especially with some of the thicker series that are out there now. I don't think a single signed book is enough. I might do that, but doing an entire series for something like Binding Words at this point, whew. And then of course I forgot a series that I owed somebody. Ah, I was in Dungeon Walkers 3, but I wasn't the only winner. Yep, everyone who won in May, won a cameo appearance in May, has since been slotted into a book. I got most of them in Dungeon Walkers 3. I think one of them went into Lux Voice 5, but most of them hit Dungeon Walkers 3. From conversations with other authors, it seems that ebook sales are down across the board except for romance, of course. Um, there's always a time of year where sales dip, Rob. So I don't worry about it for any one book. It's multiple books in a row that then say that yes, that a series is having issues. Um, and the longer the series goes on, you expect a dip from book to book, but it shouldn't be big enough to cause uh, worry. If it happens in one book, you go, okay, I got to watch that for the next book. If it happens two books in a row, that's when you know, okay, it wasn't just the time of year or something. There's something going on with the series that means I have a problem. Is there a wiki with character sheets at various points in the series? I have a couple of people who are currently working slowly in their off time on the wiki. Um, so yes, it's slowly getting there. Not character sheets, but information about characters and where they are at any given point. The only character sheets I've ever put out were in Alpha World and Apocalypse Gates. I dropped them off most places. That you get character information at the end of some series, but I dropped off character sheets because they just blowed up a book, honestly. Um, so I try not to do them, and if I do them, they're at the end of a series. In case of Apocalypse Gates, they weren't at the end of book 8 because at that point they were stretching like 20 something pages long for all the different characters and their gear, and I didn't want Amazon to crack down on me for bloat. So you said characters dictate where your story is going. That you had a moment where they want to go one way and you just start thinking that this is going to break a rule of the world. No, my characters stay very true to the setting. Um, Sometimes they do something that I don't consider the repercussions of until later. Thank you, Sean, for life bonding all the staff members. Um, but they don't. None of them have broken like how the framework of the world they're set in. That just doesn't work. With the sci Will the sci-fi book come out after Dungeon Walkers 4, or when the next Dungeon Walkers book would normally come around? Will it push back the other series release dates? Well, the first book of the sci-fi series is basically written. Um, it's just a matter of getting the time of editing and stuff. I mean, I could slot it in between Binding Words and Aethers if I wanted to, but I'm pretty sure my fan base would revolt and kill me. I might slot it in after Aethers, before Dungeon Walkers, just because I know that Dungeon Walkers 4 is gonna wrap up that series, so I might throw the sci-fi book in before it to get a feel for how you guys enjoy it or not, to see if I can continue it, or if you guys, if it goes Resurrection Quest on me and I have to abandon it with all due haste. Um, so it'll probably be after Aethers, because I feel if I try to slot it in before Aethers, I will have a full revolt on my hands. So, Xerox, it's a nice thought, but no, hundreds of people do not show up just to see me. When we did the meet and greet at the Medieval Times before the dinner and show, I had maybe 3 dozen people by my table, which was well under like a half or quarter what Dinnaman or Mountaindale Press did. And it was fine. I gave away Binding Words pens. Do I have one in my drawer? Yeah, I do. The limited edition Binding Words pens. Hang on. I gotta wait because there's a delay. So this is gonna be, you guys are gonna be seeing this for longer than it really probably needs to be up. There you go. The Binding Words logo pen. Um, I got, I don't know, 20 to 30 of them left maybe. They were one batch of them made. I got like 10 of the Alpha World pens left too. Which I'll probably take to the next Dragon Con and finish handing out to people who've never had one. Um, the badge ribbon on my badge back there says Shinhoven Books. I might do badge ribbon for one of the series next year. Um, Maybe Binding Words. I'm not sure yet. I want to do unique ribbon every year for Dragon Con for those people who, are gonna show up repeatedly. They can get the next ribbon every year. I also handed out to about 40 people Resurrection Quest coins for those people who showed up. I had them to give away as well because I might as well. People don't ask for those coins that often. It's almost like the series wasn't loved. Uh, my day's going okay. Where um, just sitting here chatting with you guys. I'm probably going to be probably looking at food in half an hour ish. So if for those of you who have commented, you are on the list. Um, People who show up after this are going to have real trouble because Sammy's going to go start cooking. So if you haven't commented yet to get on the list of loots at the end of this, do so in the next minute or two because she's going to leave and I am not keeping track of the list. She does that for me normally, but she has to cook tonight. Uh, how one how one knows we are getting old when we can measure time in years and decades for a specific part of our lives. It's true, Outlaw. As a child, you don't really go, I've lived over a decade. You go, yeah, I'm like 12. Um, However, once you get into your 30s, you can look back and go, man, 2 decades ago when it was Saturday morning and I used to sit down to watch cartoons, and the span of time hits you and you go, oh, wow, really really has been that long. So yeah. Uh, Patreon, books, and so on. Have a good night. I'm off to do stuff. Thank you so much for the monthly stream. Bye, Holly. You're already gone, but bye, Holly. I wonder if you got onto the Apocalypse panel purely because you have a book series with the word in the name. Very likely. When I got the email for the panels for DragonCon, I got them on the 19th of August. The email stated, "These are the panels we want you on. If you have a problem, please tell us by August 12th." I got the email on the 19th. For those that it might not be sinking in for, it would require me going back in time to inform them that I couldn't make any of those panels, which tells me that I was tapped as the second string for a panel because somebody else couldn't make it, which is fine. I'm actually surprised I was tapped as the second string for any panels because once again, I don't talk to the people who run the tracks. So it was kind of like, yeah, we have this guy who says he published an Apocalypse book, who's an attending pro and said he can do things, just not at these days and times. Um, it was interesting. I don't know if they'll give me attending pro again next year, and if they do, if they'll ask me to be on panels. We will find out basically together because they do all of that like at the start of August. Outside of the big names know further ahead of time. Like when Butcher's going, he knows before the beginning of August. Yes, you're totally coming, and we're going to have you on stuff. And then they start working in panels around the start of August. But for those who were there, Butcher had a 2-hour signing every day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 days of con. He had a 2-hour signing time. Plus panels. I mean, damn. Oh, where was I? Ah, that's where I was. Okay. Most of his, yeah, my girlfriends do the cooking. Jen does actually most of the cooking. Sammy does cooking occasionally. I do barbecue at my parents, my parents' place slash my property. When the family gets together and we're doing, a holiday thing, I'll barbecue the hot dogs and hamburgers. That's about the only cooking I do anymore, and that works because my girlfriend is an amazing cook, and I eat what she puts in front of me because it's tasty, except for mole. I still have stains on my ceiling from mole. She accepts that, but yeah, it's the one dish where we both took a bite, looked at each other, and set our food down. Yeah, yes, that's why there are stains on the ceiling. Mole. Did you happen to meet fellow named Marion G. Harmon George, who writes the Wearing the Cape superhero series? I don't believe so, Rob. Um, I know he wasn't on any of my panels that I can think of. And I don't hang around the like normal-ish writers. I hang around the Lit RPG group, where they hang out and talk, like in the evenings. Um, but that's about it. I'm not really the, oh, that's totally so and so. I need to talk to him about what publishing is like when you have 12 different writers working under you, as a publisher. I don't I talk to the people that I can quasi relate to because I'm awkward that way. Majority of Mountaindale Press authors, Shadow Alley Press authors, Chatfield, Ramon, Matt Denham, Harmon, Sound Booth Theater, Emily Godhand. Yeah, see, like I said, there are so many there, and I talked to all of them. I talked to a chunk of them, or met them briefly for an hour or two. Please put in your mech book a material called hand wavium. Probably not going to happen. Um, I mean, like I said, the first book is basically done. It needs editing. So, congratulations on your upcoming milestone, and thank you for the books that we all love. Well, I mean, I only get to do it because of you guys. That's why I do these uncomfortable things every month as a thank you. You guys get to pull me out of my comfort zone and I can answer questions. Which means, of course, that when we get around to it, it'll be 5 years as a full time author when I get back to it. 5 years? Yeah, pretty sure 5 years as a full time author when I get back to it in May. So, wow. Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. I want to know how much it would cost to ship Binding Words when it's all done. There are no hardback books, Xerox. So, a bundle. You have to click the you have to accept the tag for live chats on Discord, and then it'll do the hey, by the way, live chat's going on. Uh, why would Amazon care what you wrote or how much bloat you put in the back? Because that's how people were gaming the publishing of books to get more money from KDP because you get paid for pages read. So the more you could bloat at the back or in the middle and stuff, and the more people would skim through those, the more you would make from them. There's a whole thing where you can only have X amount of extraneous materials in the back, and I do my best to never break that because if once you get on Zon's bad side, it goes really bad. Thank you. Do you do you hard outlines of your story arcs? It's a shoot from the hip struggles. I am a discovery writer. The story goes as it goes. So did I, Angry. I really enjoyed the world setting for Resurrection Quest. I might revisit that setting again in the future because I really enjoyed it, just with different characters. And then I could always cameo the guys who are there, but nobody enjoyed that series as it was. Character info is super important. I'm pretty sure it's stir fry is what's for dinner. Pork stir pork stir fry and was answered apparently. Nope, chicken stir fry is what you answered. Ah, yep, no, I see it. Kiddish corrected you. It is now pork, not chicken. Pork, the other chicken. What kind of advertising do you do for your books? I post on social media to the groups that I'm allowed to. Yeah, that's about it. I have talked to other other independent authors such as myself who've gone through Facebook advertising or Amazon advertising and whatnot, and the return is never quite right. And I've never done it, um, and I don't. So I've never decided to spend my time looking into it and trying to figure that kind of things out. There was I got a name from a fellow author of somebody who handled that stuff for them, and I sent them an email and asked them to contact me, and I would really like to work with them, and I never got a reply back. So I figured, well, fuck it, they're not interested. And I've never gone back to looking at it since. Luke Quest, really enjoy your writing. Read several of your series. Well, thank you, Luke. I appreciate that. It's still odd for me. I mean, it's gonna be 6 years this October, but it's still odd to me that people enjoy my series as much as I enjoy writing them. I mean, that was my set goal when I published Last Horizons beta. I hope one person enjoys this as much as I enjoyed writing it. I didn't expect it to do anything really. It was just like, oh, I just want to publish this book because at the time lit RPG was a very small niche genre that hadn't really gained a lot of traction, and everything was the lone protagonist, and they were all young lone protagonists. So I went, well, if in 40 years from now, when I'm 80 years old, if they came in with like immersive full dive technology, what would that be like to get like the old WoW group? You know, how would the old WoW group act if we put them all together? And tried to go at 80 years old, went into a full immersion dive where we could be 20 in the game and try to have one last great adventure together, and that was Last Horizons. Um, and it did well. I made a couple $100, and I went, wow, okay, well, just giving up my free time to write the story. Actually, I think it was like 2 grand for Last Horizon beta that I made in the first month it was out, and that was shocking to me. Basically a paycheck of money for giving up my free time to write, which I enjoyed doing anyway. Um, wow, okay. I mean, I guess I can write some more. Um, and that got me to do Last Horizons Live, and I was like, okay, well, I've kind of finished off that storyline, and I had been talking to I had been talking to one of my deputies at work about the hypothetical situation about, well, what do you do if like your best friend's daughter gets assaulted, and then the guy comes in here and nobody knows that it was your best friend's daughter who was assaulted, and you had access to the criminal. What would you do? No bullshit. Just tell me, what would you do? And we went back and forth for a while, and he eventually flipped it around and said, well, what would you do? And I went, I'd kill him. I mean, literally, if you assaulted the girl to that degree, I have very little tolerance for some things in life. Um, and that was the start of Alpha World. And that's when things really blew up for me. That's when lit RPG was really starting to gain traction, and Alpha World was at that point I had been known because of Last Horizons, and things really started taking off. It was Alpha World 4 that made me look at it and go, maybe I can do this as a full-time job. I can stop working for the county and just become an author and put more time and effort into the books. So instead of a book every 4 months, maybe I can get them out every 2.5. Um, and my girlfriend agreed to it after we had 6 months of bills saved up, money for 6 months worth of bills, just in case things didn't pan out and I had to go back out and try to find a job again. And that's where we've been since. It's a crazy ride, man. 6 years, seven since, like I said, since I had finished writing Last Horizons beta. Maybe half a year before that of writing it, because I was, like I said, fitting it in around work and home life and everything else. Um, all because my friend handed me, I don't remember which book it was. It was one of the older lit RPGs, probably a Russian author. Might have been Dmitry Rus' Alter World. It might have been Kong. I don't remember. He handed me one of them, and I was like, wow. So there's this whole genre focused around what happens if you live in a game world. And I read a couple more, and it was all lone, young male protagonists. And okay, let's do something different. Let's take this idea of being 80 years old and wanting to get one more game in. I did read Dragon's Wrath, but it wasn't my first one, Holly. I really wish we knew what happened to him because that story just stopped abruptly. I liked Dragon's Wrath, and I jumped chat there. I still have to scroll down to that bit because I have like real time screen, and then off here I have the stream chat, which is 20 minutes behind, 10 minutes behind. So, but that popped up. I remember Dragon's Wrath. I enjoyed those books, and he disappeared, and the books disappeared. If you don't have them, you can't get them, as far as I know. It was those were one of the earlier ones that I read, but it wasn't the first one. I used to cook Xerox. People ruined me for cooking. When you have to cook a fillet, well done, but the person insists that it was a perfect medium rare. Mm, people ruin me for cooking. I will cook for friends and family. I will not cook for people otherwise. I don't have to cook because my girlfriends are good cooks. And since I don't have to, I don't. Now I'm curious. Were you on a panel with big authors or just smaller panels? I was on a panel with Patricia Briggs, who is big in urban fantasy. She writes the Mercy Thompson series, which is a well-known like reverse harem-ish urban fantasy. Um, that was the one that Tracy Hickman was supposed to be on, and Tracy didn't make it to that panel. Sadly, maybe I'll see him next Dragon Con if perhaps. Um, but she was the biggest name I could think of that I was on a panel with. Handwavium is an old school sci-fi term for things that were not well explained, as in the photon converters were powered by handwavium. I mean, yeah, handwavium is just I'm not explaining this; it just works. Don't worry about it. Uh, no, Patricia Briggs did not end up biting me, but she did tell me I did a good job on the panel I was on with her, which was nice. Um, I don't really have writer's block, Rob. There are times where the story just doesn't, the characters just aren't talking like they normally do. And if I play a video game for a little while, or go read a chapter of a book, or go take a walk, normally it resolves and I write on. I know people who've stopped writing for, days and weeks or months at a time because they can't get past the block in their head. But those are normally outline writers who are trying to figure out how to slot things in still. Since I don't outline write like that, it's not as hard. Roll my face across the keyboard and let the words pour out of my ears. Basically, is how it works, Outlaw. And sometimes, according to my editors, it might actually look like that because things are screwy. Did you meet your girlfriends? I'm sorry, I missed the name of the one that isn't Sammy. Before or after you began writing professionally? Kiddish Jen. I met before actually. Um, I had been talking with her while living with the first love of my life, Topaz. She's the one who helped get me through Topaz's death from the pulmonary embolism that killed her. She moved out here, and we lived together for, I want to say, it was over 5 years when I was still holding a job in Vegas and living here in Pahrump. Um, and she went through some of the worst moments in my life with me. Some of the worst moments that people have to go through: loss of a loved one, um, complete change of job where you're struggling. Even ramen seems too expensive. She stuck through all of that with me. Um, so she is the one that I will take care of. Her and Sammy now. I will take care of them above everything else. Um, Sammy makes life much easier for you guys and for me. But Jen stuck through me with me through the worst of life. So yeah, she was around long before I wrote. Years before I wrote. We met Sammy through my artist Tony, um, because we needed another editor. Um, and then when Kiddish decided that she couldn't do it anymore, the words were just hurting her head and it was grinding on her. Sammy took over as the lead editor. I now have a backup editor to Sammy, but that is where we are. Barbecue chicken and rice. It's a good meal, mate. Have you given us so many books that we have to thank you for all your wonderful stories? How many stories do you have beating the way out of your head? I don't know, Xerox. Sto- Coming up with stories is easy. It's something I've done all my life. Um, I have a lot of stories to tell. Some of them I will, some of them I won't. Like I said, I have some dark stories that just people wouldn't enjoy, and I don't want to drive people away from what I do right by writing those. I mean, yeah, I could use a pen name and put them out there just because, but that's still time one it takes for me to write, and then I have to get them edited because my raw text is terrible, guys. It really is terrible. I'm not a clean writer like others. Um, so there are some stories that'll probably never see the light of day. My parents wanted me to become a lawyer at one point. They tried to make me, but they tried to make me defend a rapist at one point, and then I'd be in jail. So I understand. Uh, yeah, the well done medium rare was like one of the last straws for me for wanting to cook for other people. Just, ugh, just not no, just no. Oh, hey, look, I caught up to you guys, and we're almost at 2 hours. So, if you have any last questions or comments, guys, get them in now. So, I want to put you, Nick, the girls, and Emily in the kitchen and have a wonderful meal from you all. I once again, Holly, I don't work well with others, so that probably wouldn't happen. And I am mostly just a very simple meat and potatoes kind of guy. I mean, yeah, I can do other stuff, but I don't want to anymore. Just don't want to. I can make you a fucking delicious hamburger because it's easy. It's something that I enjoy. You start with the right ground beef, you add the right seasonings, get it packed in right, you firm it, you cook it on a grill. It comes out juicy and tasty and fucking marvelous. But I don't want to put in the effort to make to make the bigger meals anymore. I just don't. I mentioned to Patricia Briggs' assistant that you were going to be on the panel with her, and she said there wasn't a high chance she'd bite you, but wouldn't promise. I wanted to check. She did not bite me, so luckily I escaped the bite. I mean, I wouldn't have said no, though. You should get a tattoo of random keyboard keys on your cheeks or forehead. Uh, I'm not. I want the art to really mean something other than I fell asleep at my keyboard, which is why my tattoos are book series. Don't you already have three editors? I have two editors. I have Sammy as my primary. I have Serenia who follows her. Sammy does my proofing after that. And then I have Kiddish who does my compiling of everything at the very end normally. Um, I don't have a third editor. Considering how life goes, I should probably look around and see about getting one, and making sure I have one that can work with me. But I haven't done it. When you left your cooking job, was it? And I've had a moment, and you threw a dish at someone? No, I never threw dishes. I don't. I don't. I didn't throw dishes or fuck with food. That's just not me. Like you hear the horror stories, chefs who'd step on a steak and then throw it back on the grill or worse. It's just not me. I mean, if you're gonna complain about something, fine. That's a you thing. I cook what you asked for, and if you get it and it's not what you asked for, you're fucking an idiot, not me. How can I get a Polycoin before they're discontinued? They're not discontinued. I make one print of anything, T-shirts, coins, one print. So I still have a few hundred of them. All you have to do is win one from the live chats, from the giveaways. You just need to win one, Arcron. My girlfriends have considered taking all the foods that I've talked about and actually putting together a cookbook for you guys. I don't know when or if they'll get around to it, but they have discussed doing so. Gabe, you made it like just as we're wrapping up. As your series grow longer and more full of characters, do they ever start to feel daunting to continue? No, Shank. The story's the story. It just continues. I feel bad for Andy some days. Like when I hang on. Let me pull open Google Docs real quick, and I'm gonna pull open my Aether's Revival character information, where it lists 90% of everyone who's ever had a spoken part, even if they're just Gate Guard 3. Um, where I am currently in writing Book 6, there have been 213 named people. And I want to say that's about 90%. 230 people who have had a speaking part in that series. So I feel bad for Andy some days, but I've never had a problem that where they feel daunting. The story is just a story. I just continue where the characters tell me what's going on. Yeah, I give away 5 coins a live chat. Sometimes I bump it to 6 if we've had an especially busy live chat. So you have a 10% chance on average of being one of the winners. So I mean, you have a shot. You were in commenting before cooking started, so we'll find out at the end. I will post. I will message via Messenger here on Twitch. Later tonight or tomorrow, the 5 people who've won. So please check. It's slightly frustrating when I get a reply 2 months after the fact from somebody, and I have to go back and verify that yes, they didn't reply to me, and yes, I still owe them something. I mean, if I was more of an asshole, I'd be like, dude, you didn't reply to me in a timely manner. Sorry, but I don't want to be that guy. I want to you guys support me. I want to give back to you. So please do me a favor. Just check sometime in like the next week, so I can try to get things out because I try to send them all out at once if possible. I try not to go to the post office 4 times from one live chat. So just check back. Like I said, later tonight, tomorrow, starting tomorrow for like the next week, just poke in. It's a little like word bubble icon up near the get bits near the top of your Twitch browser. If you're on the computer, if you're on the phone, I'm not sure where the fuck it's at. Um, but I message the people who win, and it's very simple. I need your name. I need your name that I can send you something at, so the post office doesn't get crazy. The mailing address I'm going to send it to, and the coin you want. For the giveaway that I'm going to be doing, you know, for my 6 years, it's also going to be then the choices of did you want a cameo and so on. There's going to be more than just coins, but for these, name, mailing address, which coin you want, and as soon as I get them, I ship them out. Tell Sammy and Kiddish we would love them even more if they do. I will let them know. They have talked about it. They've discussed it, which means includes things like the dragon steak that I mentioned, like Alpha World. We'd have to substitute because obviously dragons. It's really hard to get a steak from a dragon nowadays because they're so rare. And we don't have the special dwarven alcohol that it was marinated in. Um, so we'd have to substitute some things like the sandworm, the demon sandworm chili from Alpha World. We'd have to substitute some things, but we could make something that would get across the idea to you guys. It is something they've discussed. I will let them know that you guys would enjoy that, but it does require then appropriate. It would require them to appropriately test the recipes and make sure things work out. So it is something that they've discussed. Um, The hey, I'm gonna be doing a live chat. Um, was posted late this month because of DragonCon. I thought Sammy had posted on Facebook that it had started. I don't know if she did. I know that Discord always gets it, and if you tap the role for live chats, then because when we do the oh by the way live chat is starting at live chat, you then get the notification for Discord saying hey there's a message here you should pay attention to. So this Discord is good for that. Thank you, Baron. I appreciate that. Or when you did Ryan and Ryan, yeah, Ryan and Ryan, because you got the Irish names. That was a bit of a problem. I didn't even mean that one. It just happened. Any idea how close various series are to completion? Dungeon Walkers will get a soft close with the next book. Lux Voice depends on how things go. I have a couple different ways I could take the series depending on sales. Binding Words is probably going to run to book 11 or 12. And Aethers has a lot of story left in it, and I hope you guys continue to support it. Don't want to get back to you. Uh, what is the coin you currently have the least of? I don't know. I have a giant tub where they're all in it. I probably should split that better, but I never have. Probably Alpha World is actually probably the most coins I have. Least probably Binding Words. I mean, because it's been around longer than the rest. Outside of that, because I really didn't get the coins until Binding Words was a series. So, and that was my most popular series at the time. Uh, her name is Rian. Okay, everyone, it has been a little over 2 hours. Dinner is dinning, as we like to say here. It should be food shortly. So, I want to thank you all for coming, and we will see you next month for more live chats. Until then, stay safe because the world is a crazy fucking place. And my ring lights worked, so I'm very happy about that. I will have to go thank Joe for his suggestion. Until then, though, make sure to check back in a week at the latest to see if you're one of the winners. And thank you for continuing to support me, guys. By the time we do this again, Binding Words 9 should have hit public spaces. So, something to look forward to. Bye.